Hi, this is Alexandra, founder of the Small Business Academy and author of several books, including Choosing Your Destiny and my latest release, The Princeton Principle. Today we're going to be talking about successfully selling your products or services. Much of what we're going to be talking about today is in the Princeton Principle, but in much more in-depth. So get your copy today. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about how selling and educating are really the same thing now. The four main personality types and how to relate to each one of them, and four simple questions you need to be able to answer about every product or service you offer. And finally, how to close the sale and move your customer to buy. Now, each of these high points that we're going to be talking about today in the video are covered in the Princeton Principle, as I mentioned. But my goal is simply this, not to sell you things, but to help you get up and moving in a pathway that will bring you greater success. In fact, my goal is to reach 3 million small business owners. So if you know someone who could benefit from these free videos, please feel free to share them. I'm happy to get them to as many people as we possibly can. I think that, or I hope anyway, that they will benefit you. So let's get started. Selling, as we mentioned, is just really another word for educating. You need to teach your customers the information about your products or services. You need to know how your customer learns that information that you're giving them and how it affects their decision to buy your product or service or not. Once you understand that information and how people learn, it will help you a great deal. So there's basically 4 steps, and the first step is this. We have an organic life experience. In other words, your customer may have already had some exposure to maybe someone else in your industry or another product or service in your industry. It's important to find out if that experience was a positive one or a negative one. It's also important to note that they are now experiencing the creation of a new organic life experience with you as you're working with them. So it's incredibly important to you to make sure that that's a positive one as much as possible. This knowing this will help you increase your customer base if you make sure that each experience that each customer has within your place of business is a positive one. If for some reason, and it always happens, that the event turns out to be negative, just make sure you respond quickly to correct it. The second step in our learning process is after we have the experience, we take time to think about it and reflect on what we've just lived through. We mentally and emotionally process it as a negative or a positive event in our lives. So after we've had the experience, let's say you've gone out to dinner somewhere. When you leave the restaurant, you're going to be thinking about what you've just experienced. Was it a positive experience? Was it a negative experience? Was the service good? Was the food good? Was the atmosphere pleasant? Did you have a good time with whoever you were having dinner with? We process all of that. We mull it around in our heads. We think about that experience. Excuse me, we'll just wait for a second. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so after in the process of mulling around in our head, we form mental images of the event, and we tie our emotions to those mental images. So we experience the event, we reflect on it, then we form mental images of that event in our mind and tie our emotions to that image. Is knowing that your customers are doing that, or that they've done that in the past with others from their industry, your industry. It's important to make sure that their experience within your store or your place of business is a positive one. If they've had a bad experience before, you have a golden opportunity to turn that event around for them and their experience around for them and create a new positive experience and create a very loyal customer. The fourth and final step is We form conclusions and we make judgments about how we should either react to, avoid, or repeat what we've already experienced. So if you've been to this restaurant, you've had a wonderful time, the food was great, the service was great, you think about it after the event, you create pictures of yourself and your friends dining and having this wonderful meal and this lovely conversation and enjoying it. You tie your emotions to it. You make a judgment. I want to do that again. That was fun. I enjoyed that. The food was good. It was a great experience. Or if it wasn't a good experience, then you can make a judgment. I don't ever want to go back there again. I don't ever want to have that meal again. That was the worst ever. I'm never going to do that again. So you can understand how this process works. The same is true for you and your company. Now, though each of us learn in this process, this experience process, we have personality filters that filter how we get the information in and process the event. Knowing the different personality types and how they receive information is a powerful tool as far as learning how to sell to your customer. They're looking for a specific way and specific information in order to make a judgment about whether they should buy your product or service. Knowing this will help move things forward in a great way and will also help you make a tremendous connection with that customer. If for some reason you're not sure of the personality type that you're dealing with, I'm going to give you some tools and a process that works for everybody. But it has to be done in a specific way. And so we'll go through that. But let's talk about the first personality type. This makes out the bulk of your customer base, and it's the sales personality type. They tend to be outgoing, they're persuasive and motivational, but they also tend to have the shortest attention span. So you might see someone come in and they're kind of bouncing around your place of business, looking at all different kinds of things. They might be talking to you and engaging with you or others of your staff or maybe the person they've come in with. And they really want to they're there for one reason. They want to know why they should buy your stuff, why they need your product or service. They're there to be educated. This is where knowing how to give them information is really key. It's got to be quick, it's got to be concise, and in short answers. So why should they do it? Why should they exchange their money for your product and service? The next type, and this makes actually the next bulk of, actually the smallest portion of your customer base, but they have the next greatest attention span, and that is, or shortest attention span, and that is the intellectual type, believe it or not. They tend to want to know what the purpose of their product is. Like, what will it do? What will it do and how does it do it? And why should I get it? They want to know the purpose of it. So when you're talking with someone like this, your answers should be simple, straightforward, very concise, and just give them the facts. This is what it does. This is why you would need this product. This is what it will do for you. Very short, very simple, very straightforward. The third person is the technical type. Now, this person is very inquisitive. They tend to be maybe a little more withdrawn, not quite as outgoing. They want to know how it works. So if you're trying to sell watches, the first personality type, the sales personality, is going to come in and they're going to want to know why they need a watch. So you tell them, well, you need a watch so you can be on time, so you can know when the date and the time is and you don't miss your bus or, don't miss your appointment. The second person, the intellectual type, is going to be wanting to know, well, what does it do? Well, it tells the time and it's got the date and, it has reflective hands. The third person, the technical type, is going to want to know about the workings of the watch. Is it a quartz movement? Is it a Swiss movement? They want to know how it works. The fourth type, and we've used our friend Steve Jobs' image here, is the innovator. They want to know, what else can you use the watch for? What other purposes will it serve other than telling time? What else will it do other than giving me the date? Well, what else can you do with a watch? Well, you can time your jogging. You can time out your heart rate when you're working out. I mean, these are other things that you can do with your watch. Just an example. But those are the four basic personality types. Those are the four things that it's really going to interest them about your product and service. So if you can take some time and think about answers to each one of these, about each product and service that you have, you'll be light years ahead of most of your others in your industry. Now, when you're creating your sales message, you need to address each of those points in this specific order. So if you don't know your personality type and you answer these four questions in this particular order with every single person that comes through your door, it won't matter what personality type they are. You will give each person, you'll be guaranteed that they'll get the information that they're looking for. So quickly, why should your customer buy your product or service, and how will it benefit them personally? What is the purpose of your product, and in concise terms, what will it accomplish? How does that product or service do what it does? And finally, what other things can it be used for? So if you can go through each one of these questions, answer each one of these questions, you now have your sales message and a very powerful tool. Boy, we have just flown through this one more time. I hope you've enjoyed this series of videos. If you would like more training, I'm offering business success training on a monthly basis. It's much more in depth than what we've got here. It's a series of videos that come to you every single month, along with the tools necessary to implement those the things that we're talking about that particular month. All you have to do is just click the button down below here and hit subscribe, and it will come to you automatically. But they're much more in depth. So we'll take one topic each month. There'll be 3, 4, possibly 5 videos that will be broken down into 15-minute segments, and hopefully that will serve you. Please feel free to share these videos with others. My goal and my passion is to help as many small business owners get on the pathway to success and to reach their personal goals. I've sure enjoyed our time together, and until I see you next time, I wish you continued success.